A federal judge has temporarily blocked a new health care requirement for immigrants proposed by the Trump administration. It would have forced immigrants to register and show they could pay for health insurance within 30 days of arriving at the border. The requirements could bar up to 375,000 prospective legal immigrants from moving to the U.S. each year. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez has been covering this story, and he joins me now from Washington. Camilo, welcome. Remind us why critics were so concerned about this Trump administration policy.
Well, Tanya, critics and advocates dubbed this the healthcare ban, right? Because they believe the proposal represented a categorical ban on people with low income from different countries around the world. Under the new proposed requirements, immigrants or would-be immigrants, those seeking to immigrate here to the U.S. legally, would have to prove to U.S. consular officers that they would secure health insurance within 30 days of their arrival in the U.S., or that they could pay reasonable, foreseeable medical costs in the U.S., a standard that was not defined in the proclamation. And that was one of the issues that plaintiffs raised in the litigation, which ended up, eliciting a temporary restraining order over the weekend.
And so has the White House responded to this latest legal setback to its immigration proposals?
Yeah, just yesterday, the White House press secretary denounced the temporary restraining order by a judge in Oregon, saying that it was wrong and unfair for a single judge to halt the president's priorities when it comes to his immigration agenda. And we have to remember that this has been a common theme during this administration of different judges around the country hampering the administration's immigration agenda, at least in the lower courts and some of the appellate courts as well. So the administration believes that no single judge should be able to issue these nationwide injunctions against these policies, because remember, this policy was set to go into effect yesterday, and now it has been completely halted.
So is that the end of this ban, or will the administration fight and try to bring it back?
No, just like the other policies, we can expect prolonged litigation in this case. The judge in Oregon on Saturday issued a temporary restraining order that is valid for 28 days. So this is a temporary measure to stop this policy, and he will have a hearing on November 22nd later this month to decide whether he will issue a more permanent preliminary injunction enjoining the government from implementing this policy while the merits of the case proceed in court.
Right. All right, Camilo, let's switch gears a little bit, sticking with immigration, though. Kevin McAleenan announced his resignation as acting Secretary of Homeland Security last month, as you know. On Friday, President Trump indicated he intends to appoint Chad Wolf as the new head. So who is Chad Wolf? What do we know about him? And what can we expect to see from the department under his leadership?
Yeah, so he's not as well known as other figures we expected the president to tap for this position, such as the USCIS Director Ken Cuccinelli. But what we know is that Chad Wolf joined the Department of Homeland Security shortly after it was created in the wake of the 9/11 attacks, and he served in various roles in the Transportation Security Agency, the TSA, for 3 years before spending more than a decade lobbying on behalf of a firm that represented companies that hired foreign workers. He joined government 2 years ago, served under former Secretary of Homeland Security Kirstjen Nielsen as a top aide, and during that tenure, he oversaw and implemented some of the most controversial policies that the administration has rolled out, including the detention of asylum seekers and, of course, family separations.
All right. Well, Camilo Montoya-Galvez, we thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Tanya.